Poštovani gledatelji, s nama je Hermann Kügler. On se nalazi ovih dana u Splitu, odnosno u Puškom Blatu, kao voditelj jednog od TCI tečajeva u organizaciji KBF-a u Splitu. A danas ćemo kratko porazgovarati s njime da čujemo što je to uopće TCI. Hermann, welcome to our podcast. Thank you for joining. So, you are a Jesuit priest.
Exactly.
You are also a therapist.
Yeah.
And you are a pastoral psychologist.
Exactly.
Okay, for the beginning, can you explain what is a pastoral psychologist? What is actually the thing you do?
Yeah. Well, this means the link between psychotherapy and spirituality. So, in other words, how can we use the benefits of psychology? Well, my reference frame is depth psychology, Sigmund Freud, and psychoanalysis. And how can we use the benefits of that system for the sake of the people, so that they are more content with their lives, but relate themselves better to other people. Yeah.
Wow.
In the church and otherwhere.
Okay, very necessary, especially nowadays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is TCI, because you're here because of the TCI, is TCI a part of your work as a psychologist?
Yeah, it is. Ruth Cohen, the founders of TCI, said the culture is too small. So she treated rich people in New York who underwent a psychotherapy, a psychoanalysis with her, and she said that's not enough. We have to come from the individual to the community, and we have to develop how people can, how do I say this, how can people relate to one another, reduce rivalry towards cooperation, and how can they get themselves in contact. And the concept she developed, TCI, means you're important and I am important. We have a theme to discuss, also we have a task to resolve, and we keep in mind the circumstances in what we work. So the model she worked with was a triangular in a globe. I am important, the two of us, we are important, we work on the theme, and we keep in mind what the circumstances are we work in.
Okay. So people are listening now who don't know the definition of TCI. Can you explain, is TCI therapy? Is TCI a method? Is there a definition of TCI?
Well, to say it in a nutshell, TCI is a concept for teaching and for leading and guiding groups and teams. So for teaching, TCI helps us that people learn in a vivid way, living, learning, encounter. That's what TCI fosters. So in schools and university, that people not only learn facts, but that they perceive what does it mean with their own life. That is the small children, but also the students in university. And if somebody has to run an organization or an institution, how can he open boundaries so that his collaborators have, how do I say that, so that his collaborators collaborate to the same aim an organization has. For example, in the church, that people do not withdraw themselves innerly and do their own things, but that people have a clear vision what the church means and what is their place in the church and how they can collaborate to and overcome rivalry and find a cooperation.
Okay, so I understand it's quite applicable for leadership, for teachers, for therapists.
I mean, in leadership, am I the boss who stands on the ladder on the top and give commandos to the others? Or do I esteem the others and do I foster that they can live their strengths and that their weaknesses are not punished? That's what TCI encourages with people, that I can make mistakes and that's not a problem.
It's very interesting. Now, here we have teachers, we have managers, we have professors, religious teachers, also religious sisters, friars. Why is TCI so close to Christianity, or is it just here in Croatia?
No, the reason is in German we say Menschenbild, so the concept of human we have, and the concept of human beings TCI has is that every human being has a dignity, so there are not some with more dignity and others with less dignity, that we can cooperate, that we can open boundaries and are not obliged to stick on that what we have once learned. And this concept of human being is very near to Christianity, so it fits quite good together.
Fits the values.
Yeah.
You're also a Jesuit priest. Have you worked with the religious orders? And does it make any difference when you practice TCI?
I think it does, because in the religious orders, usually the idea is that I'm a nun or a priest 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Whereas in a profit organization, people say, well, I am a clerk or whatsoever, that profit organization, from 8 to 5 or from 10 to 10, but then I have my private life. That makes a difference. At times there's still in religious communities a great moral pressure that people have the idea I must be perfect and I am not allowed to make mistakes. But that's not even the Pope has such an idea of himself.
It's okay to be human.
Yeah, it's not human.
Okay. And these days you were talking about crisis. It was a theme of this seminar. In your experience nowadays, what are the biggest crises that people handle?
Well, let us stay on individuals and groups, because TCI is not the general key to resolve all problems of the world and is not so good for great institutions. It is good for groups and teams. And I think the greatest challenge is that people overcome a certain narcissism, so that they only see themselves as the center of their tiny small world, and that they go in different contact with others. That's a difference on job and in privacy and with friends and with a partner, but that people have to learn to open their individual boundaries and share with others their own lives, but also show themselves and let others touch their heart. That's, I think, is the greatest challenge today.
Can you give us an example? How does TCI help us with these crises?
Well, I think the first thing is that people perceive it is allowed that I am a disturbance, and a crisis is part of life. I mean, there are crises that occur in every life, puberty or midlife crisis, or somebody gets older, and if things run well, people can overcome this crisis. But there are other crises like sicknesses and illnesses, or a cancer, or bad news, or somebody dies, and if people say I'm not the only person in the universe with such a crisis, and I find some others with whom I can share my experiences, and they listen to what I say, and I can communicate to them what is really in my heart and must not play a role, that's the challenge, but also the possibility.
Sounds pretty liberating. And it's a good thing that you have a lot of students here in Croatia. Is this your first time in Croatia?
It's the first TCI seminar I give in Croatia, yeah. Great people here.
Great to hear that. You will be coming back to Croatia?
I think I can, so it depends when I'm invited, I will come back, I think, yeah.
If you and your colleagues definitely will be coming back because you have graduates here, who would you like to see on the next TCI seminar as a student?
Well, there is a certain plan to make a supervision course so that those Croatians who learn TCI here can bring their leading situations or teaching situations in a group, and that we supervise it with one another so that they can they have more courage to open their boundaries and move forward their boundaries. Yeah, that's the aim of a supervision course.
Thank you so much, Hermann, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. This TCI course is very interesting, very useful, and we hope to get even some more students to listen to you the next time you come here and to teach more about TCI.
Pleasure.